gonna talk about fires or whatever today. Waiting for me to get stream confirmation, and there's stream confirmation. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, welcome. This is The Art of Rock. It's Saturday. I'm in Hollywood, California. And I want to acknowledge the Tongva people as being the traditional landowners of Los Angeles. Normally at this stage, I'd give a whole bunch of spiels and stuff about buying my shit. But in this situation, there's a whole bunch of donations that you can make to people who need it way more than I do. From the fires in LA, which have been absolutely terrifying, which we're probably going to talk a little bit about today. Alex, welcome. We are live. Do you just want me to go on a rant, or do you want me to...
No, you know, why would you ever rant?
I know.
I want you to go on a rant. What do I show up every week here for if not?
Right?
No, you're in the midst of it, man. There's a lot going on in the south portion of the west coast of the United States right now in a particular area that not everybody's hearing the direct reports on the ground from somebody who's got a pile of synthesizers and a cat and wife and neighbors.
We'll get to that. So we're fine. First and foremost, Frank and I are A-okay. It's very, 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 very bad. There's an app called Watch Duty. And I'm pretty sure it's America wide. I'm not sure, but it's directly connected to the fire department, I believe, because Watch Duty will send out an alert and then you get the emergency alert like a minute later. And it's telling you exactly what the fuck is going on. And at one point, the entire LA was surrounded. The entire downtown Los Angeles was surrounded by either standby to evacuate or evacuate zones. And if it wasn't, then it was a red flag. And right now, we're back to sort of like plain white screen, which is nothing bad going on. But there are, all around me now, there's alerts and red flags. There was a fire yesterday that was way the fuck away from me that in 25 minutes, it went from we've just spotted this fire to evacuating maybe 10,000 people in 25 minutes. And then in just over an hour, the evacuation was called off and it grew from 1 acre to 38 acres, I think, in 1 hour. That's crazy. And, you know, Dad's a firefighter. He's Ivan. Dad's a bush firefighter, and Dad just said, I wouldn't want to be fighting that. Which is saying a lot because Dad's a fucking boss. It's really interesting that I was talking to my neighbors and I'm trying to keep everyone calm and saying, hey, you know, it's fine. It's probably not going to make it here. We're going to be okay. There's a lot of factors that are, you know, that the fire most likely will not make it to our apartment building that's made out of concrete and brick. But, you know, we're going to be sure we're going to be safe. And they've got the TVs on, and of course they're freaking out because everything on the TV is terrifying. And I said to them, as we were talking, everybody's alarm, you could hear everyone's alarm and the whole apartment building just go off. And it was like, we've just been ordered to evacuate. And it was like, everybody just went, fuck. and I don't have a car, I don't drive. And my amazing friend Lindsay said, I'll come and get you. We knew traffic was going to be hellish, and so I kind of had stuff partly packed. I was walking away from my synths. I went, they're going to burn, I'm going to lose them all. No, I don't have insurance. I get to choose between eating and having insurance. Not many people understand that. That's your choice. You can eat or you can have insurance. And also, LA, the policies have changed so much on fire. It's like, this is bullshit. Anyway, I just went, if shit happens, I'm going to lose it, I'm walking out with Frank and I'm walking out with myself. And my hard drives and my grandfather's rings and my passports, and that's it. And I remember, man, just doing the final pack, I was fucking terrified. Like, I was terrified. And it wasn't just the fire. Fire brings out a really peculiar fear in you. Like, it's a really interesting, deep terror that you're dealing with something that doesn't reason, and it just wants to fucking consume. And it wasn't just the fire that was scaring me, it was everyone else's panic. Like, I can't handle other people's panic and worry. I can't handle it. And oh my God, people were freaking out. And so anyway, Frank didn't like going in his little case. But we went to Lindsay's place and hung out with Lindsay and Brian and watched The Purge and ate pizza. Lindsay's like a mile away from the fire zone than I am, and we were watching the standby to evacuate, and then the evacuate thing just creeped down. I was like, oh fuck. And then we were looking at the map trying to figure out where the fuck we would go, because every road out of LA was either bridging an evacuation zone or a ready to evacuate zone, and the only areas that were not was right down the coast, going all the way down to Mexico. There was this little white slither. And they said, oh, we're going to go there. And I went, well, the problem is like 1 million people are going to try and go down there. And we're watching the traffic, and it was like, what do you do? But yeah, so then we're back, and the windows in the apartment are closed. I have not really been outside in the last 4 days. I'm going in tomorrow to help out with getting some stuff out, but I'll be wearing like 5 face masks. But the it's kind of, and everything is, it's funny that as soon as I got back, from Lindsay and Brian's place, I unpacked everything and then I repacked again, so that it's really streamlined. And because like I took Frank's entire litter box, and it's funny because you get there and you go, I've got the litter, but I don't have anything to put it in. So like even down to making a little makeshift cardboard box for Frank's litter box, and a big snap-lock bag that's full of litter. And I had little bowls. I had everything sorted except these tiny little things. So everything is right there right now. All I have to do is get a few other bits and pieces like the hard drives again, and the laptop, and we'll be out of the door in 10 minutes. And I'm basically sleeping in my clothes. Although it's saying everything's fine, I might actually have a shower today. I haven't had a shower in 5 days because I'm just like, I'm like epically on edge. And I was saying this, Resi, before, how like, it's really interesting that you go, wow, I'm really traumatized. Like this has really, I'm aware that I am traumatized, but I really don't really have too much to be concerned about, because a lot of the apartment buildings around here are more modern. Well, not really all that modern, but they're made of concrete. There's not a lot of wood around here. There are some trees. There's not a lot of, well, there is grasslands, and fucking 300 feet that way is where the mansions start. But it's, it's edgy. It's very fucking edgy. So, Rezi, did I see your hand?
No, but I mean, it's fascinating to hear your perspective being on the ground there, and also your relatively positive attitude about what is a remarkably powerful force of nature that everybody's experiencing around you at once, and it's insatiable and classically apocalyptic, in such a massive way, that the fires of hell themselves there. And we're all just sort of powerlessly hoping to send fewer messages to everybody and not flood their inboxes and just wish everybody the safety and well-being and
It's
to get through it.
it's really interesting that I want to go on a rant about eucalyptus in a minute, but it's really interesting that I feel like an Angelino or an Angelini. Like and it's shit like this that really makes me go, fuck, I love this city. Like I love to hate this city. I think everybody just loves hating LA, but it's like at the end of the day, I love this city. And people said to me, keep going, why don't you get out? And it's because I hate to admit it, but I fucking love this town. Like I love Hollywood. I love it. It's a gringy, dirty, shitty, fucking grunge place full of artists and weirdos. Like I'm meant to be here. But yeah, I really want to be a firefighter. I really want to be a volunteer firefighter. But unfortunately, my insurance that I don't even fucking have probably won't. Like, come on. If I hurt myself in a fire, do you think this government will give a fuck? No. But and they have an age restriction as well. But it's funny that the average age of the firefighters in Dad's squad is like 60. And they're all motherfuckers. They're funny as bitches. Yeah, so eucalyptus. For the love of fuck, cut them down. You've got to cut them down. If you have a eucalyptus on your property, get rid of it. It is a fire starter. Those trees. Have I ever given you my long, drawn-out rant on eucalyptus and why they have to go?
I don't think so, but something about the oils sounds familiar.
Yeah. So they don't have sap, they have oil, and the oil is extremely, extremely flammable. Next time you're out camping, get a eucalyptus branch and throw it with leaves on it and throw it on the fire, and the word woof comes to mind. There's little pockets of oil in the eucalyptus. They come up as brown splotches on the leaves. They're like concentrated bits of oil. A leaf will ember burn for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And that is designed by nature to be carried in the wind and start fire. Eucalyptus trees want fire. People don't understand this because they will survive the fire. Other plants will not. It is their form of warfare. They have all of this other forms of warfare, including poison on their leaf, that when it rains, it washes the poison off their leaf and it kills absolutely everything around them. The tips of their roots are toxic, that if they touch another plant, they'll start poisoning it. They're mean fucking plants. And LA is full of them. LA doesn't have the really terrifying ones like the ironbark, which is, I think, one of the toughest woods in the world. Ironbarks burn horrifyingly hot, like they melt cars. Like, and I saw some videos of people saying, oh, look, the car started melting. It's like, well, in Australia, there will be flat pools of steel that used to be cars. There's nothing left. They're melted. That's ironbark, and also Red River and a couple of other gums. But they got to go. And they just, there's no microbacterial life or insect life or mammal life or animal life here that eats the leaves. So when the leaves fall, they're going to stay on the ground indefinitely or for a long time, being amazingly flammable. And then when you get the Santa Anta, the devil's winds coming through, which kind of happens every year this time. Yeah, and now they're saying, well, fire is officially an all year round risk in LA. It's like, great. So if you can, it's called Watch Duty. And I think it saved a lot of people from having a lot of nervous breakdowns in LA because it's just pure fact from the fire department. And Chief Crowley, unfortunate name there, I think is a fucking legend. I think she needs to be knighted. She's a fucking legend. And the whole squad. Man, have you seen those bloody pilots? They're mad. Fuck flying a fucking FA-18. I want to fly a goddamn Canadian Scooper. Those guys are crazy. Anyway, fucking heroes. So yeah, there you go. And it's really interesting that I'm going. It's interesting that peak level freak out Um, but I got to work. And it's like, and it's funny because like all the podcasting stuff that I do on the side, most people have been evacuated or they've lost power. And I had the news say 180,000 people have been evacuated. No, no, it's way fucking more than that because what was happening is it wasn't just the evacuation zones that was getting out. That's the number they were counting. It's everybody who was in the, not the red evacuation, the orange standby to evacuate, they got out as well. So it was like, I don't know, but there's a lot of power out and anyway, so I found myself, look, I have to do something. I can't watch classic Doctor Who. And I can't watch the news because the news is just toxic. Jesus, don't watch the fucking news. So I just had to force myself to go, right, I need to make canvases for, you know, the Spotify releases. I need to work on the blurbs for the Kickstarter for the new album. I need to work on May stuff. I need to force myself to work because the other trick is that the power could go out any second. So I don't want to be using synthesizers and shit like that because the power just doesn't go out. It goes on, off, on, off, on, off, out. The laptop can handle that because it's got a battery, but I don't want to do that to the synths. So, yeah, and it's disgraceful how people are not, people are going to want to blame LA for this and they're going to want to blame the government. But hey, guys, we the people, and that's a lesson I've learned from the United States. The power is in we the people. And it is our responsibility to clean up our yard and our responsibility to be sweeping up the leaves outside. It's our responsibility. So, you know, and it's funny, my mate Andre said, oh, it's getting political. Andre, who's in Sweden, he said, you know, man, this is arson and every single one of us is responsible because this arson has been caused from an environmental catastrophe that has caused the pickup of winds, the weather conditions, all of this. Every single one of us have ash on our hands here. So yeah, I am responsible. Everybody in this city is responsible and we need to make it better. We must not. We've got to stop relying on governments. We've got to stop blaming governments. We are the fucking government. You know, we are the fucking government. So yeah, we the people, and I thank America for teaching me that lesson. Does anybody else want to shoot their mouth off or ask questions or?
Yeah.
Ivan!
All right. I mean, first, like, LA the climate there is technically high desert, not Mediterranean, which everybody gets told. Those are two different things. One of them is wetter than the other. The other, you know, LA, on the other hand, you know, for a while, it looked like it was, you know, a freaking paradise. And, you know, kind of still does. But, you know, like it gets dry. You know, that's a part of the world where droughts don't last, you know, 5-10 years. They last a century or two or longer. You know, we just got lucky in that, you know, we discovered LA right around the time that, like, you know, the last drought was tailing off, the last real drought. And now a real drought is coming back because LA, you know, woke up and realized who it is. And, you know, that makes the environment kind of dangerous. Granted, you can go to any part of North America and discover that in one way or another, the environment is dangerous. You know, the upper Midwest in the winter will just try to kill you. You know, it doesn't care about the house. It wants to kill you. You know, you can go to any part of the country, and there's going to be some part of the, you know, the environment is going to straight up just try to kill you. At the same time, yeah, I know what it's like to have everything burn. You know, when I was 13, we had a house fire and it took everything with a capital E. You know, that freaking sucks. and to make it worse, like there's nobody around to, secondhand stuff to anyone to keep things rolling. So that makes it even worse. There won't be any cardboard boxes showing up full of, emergency clothes and toiletries and bedding. That's just not going to happen because everybody's been through this. Everybody's going through the same thing. That and we just we don't have those resources just aren't available anymore. So, you know, I hope a rapid recovery for LA folks and that they can become whole again, like ASAP, because otherwise it takes a really long time.
Thank you, man. I had no idea you went through that. I'm sorry. Yeah, the thing that's killing me is that let me check the fire. I think it's the Eaton fire. Okay, so the Eaton fire, according to this, wow, so much red on my screen right now. The Eaton fire is now at 14,000 acres.
1,000.
Yeah, and it's 15% contained. All the people out there are mid-low income,
Yep.
and they're not. Those people are homeless. Like they're not going to get houses back, and that's what is just destroying my soul. Sure, I don't know. It's funny. I saw this video recently about Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, and it was like on a mountain. The mountain was surrounded by grass, and his house was surrounded by gum trees. And it was like, oh, dude. And look, man, I don't want your shit to burn, but I don't fucking care. You're insured. These people are not. I wanted to also mention, I forgot, doesn't matter. Oh yeah, it was funny. It wasn't funny at all. I was talking to Dad today, Saturday on Thursday, and Dad's got this app called Windy, and I've always tried to tell Dad that the wind in LA is crazy because the mountains, the desert, the ocean, and apparently it's one of the hardest places on earth to pick the weather. Although the weather is always 75 degrees and clear skies. I don't know how that works, but the weather's chaotic. So is chaos 75 degrees and clear skies? I don't know. But yeah, and it's really hard to pick because all this shit's happening. And I was trying to tell Dad that, it's fucking flipping around everywhere. So I was talking to Dad, and Dad's looking at the Windy app on LA, and it's like the winds are crazy and they are changing from northwest to southeast. Like they're flipping 180 degrees. And it's fucking mad. And Dad's going, what? And I went, yeah, man, this is LA. And as he's talking, my app, the Duty Now app's going ping, ping, ping. Okay, this area has to evacuate. And during the conversation with Dad, there were like in an hour, there were 5 different evacuations from different fires. And it's like, fucking hell. But yeah, so once again, get the Duty app. It's free and it's amazing, and I'm pretty damn sure it's countrywide. And Adam, it's great to see you, and Super Tablespoon, and Jen, and Alistair, and Adapt Manipulate, and Jared, and I know I'm missing people here. Thank you so much for jumping in. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask or talk about, or
Can you say the name of the main app that you were referring to?
Watch Duty, WATCH, Watch Duty, DUTY, Watch Duty. Cool. And I'm pretty sure it's basically police radio, but for the fire department, or maybe it's just emergency services in general. But as Rob said the other day, catastrophes is something that we got to live with now. And that's another really interesting thing about gear as well, is that like the amount of guys, I have a very good friend who said he was putting his synths into his car, and he had to decide what his synths were going in. And I thought, well, hey man, lucky you that you actually have a car. I would not be doing that, because I would leave them in the house, because the thing and he's got a concrete house or apartment. And the thing I have learnt with all of this is that assume that at some point you will have to get out of the car, abandon the car, and walk. So if you got synths in the car, they're going to burn, or they're going to be trashed or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. But we go on and all that shit, right? All right. Somebody say something. Ask
I
me
was
a
going to
question.
ask you, you broached it already, but like, are people being taken care of? And the answer you've already said is no. There's people that are actually in dire straits, and can we contribute in any way? Is that
Okay.
even online yet?
Yeah, there will be a whole bunch of places, and I'd be triple checking these, because there are some pieces of shit who are going to try and take financial advantage of this.
Yeah,
But
that's always the risk, man.
Yeah, there will be places that are, set up. There is actually a musicians fund. I'm not going to claim it, because there are musicians who need it more than I do. And yeah.
I would assume that's like Naris and Music Cares and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jump into it.
Yeah, people are starting to get that music cares around.
I've known some people that are involved in that. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be, as usual, it's going to be we, the people who are looking after stuff, that we need to look after. So that's what's going on. But yeah. And it's been a really interesting exercise for me to compartmentalize what the fuck is going on with the ability to keep working, because you got to keep working. You must keep working. Making music, creating art. Yeah, I mean, hey man, take an hour off or something. It's really fucking shitty. I have this thing that, I'll have a big meal in the middle of the day. I'll have a drink. Like nothing crazy, but I'll have a drink. And then after that, I'll fall asleep for an hour, and then I get up and keep going. But it's like, I can't do that now, because it's like, well, you can't fucking drink because you got to keep your fucking wits about you. And having a sleep in the middle of the day is kind of like, I don't know. The alarm's right next to me though, so if something happens, I hear it. But I don't know, man. Got to keep going. Yeah. Good fun. And it was also really funny, like the amount of people who said, oh, hey man, come and stay at my place. And it was like, well, thank you so much. I will, I'll add it to the list. And they said, we're high and dry, man. We're out of the fire. Everything's fine. 20 minutes later, they're being evacuated, or they're on standby to evacuate. And it's like, fucking hell. This is crazy. But anyway.
You gotta go to Vegas.
Sorry?
Or you gotta get across
well, yeah,
the
that
desert.
was our escape route, was Joshua Tree. We were going to go up to 29 Palms. But it was like, because Lindsay and Brian were only there like 2 weeks previous. But the problem is getting the highway out was, the highway was actually the line of to where people were evacuating up to the highway. So the highway will be chaos. Like all highways out of LA were chaos. They had a whole bunch of like places to go for shelters and stuff within LA, like safe. They converted like stadiums and stuff into it, but it's like, I want to keep them. I don't want to go there because other people need to go there more than we do. Yeah, but anyway, good fun. Get the amp, be prepared. And as an Angelino, I'm an Angelino. You're supposed to have 30 days of water and food in the house at any one time for earthquakes. And also get a pack and go bag. And that pack, and you might buy yourself some socks and undies that live in the pack and go bag. And you might buy yourself some vitamin supplements, your vitamin Bs, your Cs, and your iron, or whatever. The fucking fundamental shit, it lives in there. It's always in there. And you might have drinking water in your fridge and food that you're just rotating it out. So that anything happens, you pack, you go. Yeah, and in LA, that's what you're supposed to be like that. And I kind of am. And another thing is, man, looking around my house at the amount of shit that's flammable that doesn't need to be there. Like, you know, cardboard boxes. Like, I stayed at a mate's place recently, and I walked into the house and the walls are made out of wood, and he's got all these cardboard boxes from his shoes, and I'm going, dude, you know. Anyway, all right, what else? Talk to me.
I was going to ask if you had enough drinkable water.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got. Although we're not on. Some places are back to boiling. I don't think we're back to boiling here. I'm not sure. And some places that don't drink the water at all. Apparently, the water's sold out in a lot of places. They're out of water. I am boiling stuff, and I've got at this minute maybe 5 gallons that I'm cycling through. So yeah, I think I'm prepared. And I've also got like nuts and obviously chocolate in the emergency. Of course I got fucking chocolate. In the emergency thing. And it's funny that when I got to fucking Lindsay's place, I've got, I had food and water because I assumed I was going to be sharing for 3 people, probably for about a day. And then I looked at the amount of food I had for Frank, and I was like, this fucker's going to eat for a month. So it's like, God damn it, Frank. So anyway, yeah, so there you go. We're good. Talk to me. What's going on? Everyone's musics. Talk to me. Anything. Go.
All right. I'll go.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna mute your mic if you're not gonna fucking say anything.
So
Go. I hear you.
I could just add a new music topic, but it feels like inconsequential now. So I don't know.
Perfect. No, bring it up, man. Great. Let's go.
I bought a VST version of a synthesizer that I own in hardware, and it's been an interesting experience because it's digital, so it sounds exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just worked different with it. And maybe my question is whether you had similar experiences or
What synth?
it's the Blofeld by Waldorf.
How much was it?
If I would have been at home, it would have been 90 euros because they had a discount for Blofeld owners, but for me it was, I think, 110 euros.
How much CPU usage is there?
Almost none, because at least on my modern MacBook, probably because it's like a really old VST synthesizer.
Interesting. I haven't had it. No, this is good. This is great. Let's talk about music. Fuck yeah, let's talk about music. I'm going to throw this to the Resonator.
Man,
Go.
I love Waldorf stuff. I always wanted a standalone like hardware, something, anything, but I've definitely had the VST, which I mean, yeah, that most of the modern stuff is digital. Some of them have analog components that may make it a little bit different from the VSTs. But you raise a good point, Alex. Like, even if you have the same engine running on a different platform, the fact that it's on your screen for me always restricts what you can do with it. And I can go back to like the ESQM, for example, which has just one slider and a display, versus the MIDI UI interface, which has a lot of knobs that you can click or drawings of knobs, but it doesn't end up making that much difference because you're still only touching one parameter at a time. And that's kind of the limitation, but it still changes. Like, it's funny, just the graphical layout of the topology changes how you think about what's going on. And if they chain it from, filters on the right and tone sources on the left or something, or do it as a square, or draw little lines between the things, it definitely influences how you're primed to think about what you're about to do. But man, if there's one thing that makes the difference, it's if the hardware version has multiple knobs and you can get a couple fingers on a couple sliders and one on a knob or something and do some expressive things, or even just the quickness of editing when there's a parameter per knob physical in the world and they don't change function. That's my kryptonite, or maybe the opposite of kryptonite. Like when you get that, and we're going back to like the ultimate expression of that in a mini Moog, where it's like the knobs are just there and it's the same knobs every time and you touch it. It's interesting though. Like the Blofeld is a tabletop layout in the hardware component, and that does have knobs, and there's a couple of shift parameters. Do you want to talk about a little what the differences you found are?
Yes, it has some parameters in like rows of 4, so you can control one envelope completely at a time. And then you have like a menu where you have like a page and 2 settings per page. And you have to like go through the menu with one knob and then have like 2 different parameters you can tweak. And even though it's less than ideal, I conceptualize it way differently. I think even if I were to use the software as a editor for the hardware, I would still work differently with it because it's a physical thing and I think different of it.
I'm with you 100% there. And I like, if I'm gonna bother with a piece of hardware, I've said this about a dozen times now, it's like the things with actual 1 parameter knobs that are even like electrical devices where voltage passes through are the ones that I prefer for exactly that reason. Not because they're stable and because they do a very clean operation as you're moving them up, because they're always that parameter and they're always the filter when you reach for that knob, and it's just there, and it really gives you a I was watching Phil Gaines talk about some stuff, and like, he's got his hands on things doing expressive stuff as an instrument, and people who play Hammond have their hands on the drawbars and they know what they're doing with the tone shaping, and it just becomes a second natural thing to reach for. And you don't get that with shift, menu, parameter. And I'm not an expressive synth player in the first place, so every little advantage I can get to like knowing where the instrument lives and how you can make it breathe and bend to your will, so to speak, is an advantage. And I'm also, this is sort of a side tangent, like every few months I bring up, like I'm on a quest to have things in my physical environment that are dedicated to one task, and I'm constantly failing because no software really wants you to be in that world. So yeah, no, that's actually that's like a dead end thought because I haven't achieved it yet. But the 1 knob per function idea is it's not very well attended to these days, let's say. But it's cool, like when you can get it. I'm still going to build something sometime that is dedicated to a function and is always that, even if it, just a knob sitting on my desk.
So can I ask, because I've also reading Adapt Manipulate on YouTube has also got an ESQ1. And man, everyone in uni when I was there had an ESQ1, and those things, they had balls.
That was the time for it.
They had balls.
Yeah.
And they still do. So my question to both of you, and I guess everyone, is that, so, because I don't use soft synths, is that if you have a physical real synth and a physical real soft synth, or virtual soft synth, you know what I mean, do you actually, are the sounds that come out of them like the actual, I'm not talking about the sound quality, but does the workflow inspire you to create something different?
Yeah, I can jump right in and say yes, absolutely. The not to get bogged down in the tech, but there are a few knob per function work surfaces that have been released for the SQM, and I've never had the money to buy one. There are also software one knob per function interfaces that just work over over MIDI controllers. SysX probably in this case, to be specific. And that's a different vibe. And then the front panel where you've just got the one parameter to scroll through and menu through, definitely a different vibe. And, you know, it's not like one of those is, you know, precludes making good sounds, because the thing has, you know, like some waveforms in it and some ways of doing all three oscillators at the same time that sound cool. And you just, you know, stack them up and do your thing. And you can get to that from any of those interfaces. But I would postulate that if I bought the one with all the knobs ever in my life and it powered up working, so you didn't have to reconfigure something every time, because there's like a mode 4 that allows for all the SysX control in that thing, if I recall. I haven't even touched it in years. Provided those things, yeah, it would be like kind of magical, the speed with which you could come up with ideas and the trust that you'd have that it's going to do stuff. That doesn't really characterize what the differences are, but yes, differences, absolutely.
Fantastic, man. Thank you. Alex, what do you think?
So I definitely have different. Well, I only had like 3 hours with it, but some things were the same and some things were different. Like I had a keyboard controller, and the melodies I was playing were similar, but the synth sounds that I came up with were different, because you think differently if you just see everything spread out at once. If you see all the 10 modulation matrix slots in one place, it just inspires different ideas, at least for me.
Yeah, thank you. Ivan, please, I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I gotta agree with everybody. I've got a System 8, and the nice thing with the System 8 is if you're Roland or like me, you end up with all the Roland stuff, and so I've got the 8 as a physical device, and then the 8 as a VST, and you'd think that I'd use them both the same way. I don't. Yeah, not even close. Think about every step differently when I'm using between the VST and the hardware. I mean, I think the only thing that comes out as being kind of the same is just creating patches is roughly the same, but I play them differently. And I appreciate that I do. I don't like it. I don't see it as a problem. I see it as more of a feature of having both the hardware and the software. And then I've got all of the Korg software, and then like the physical hardware, the ModWave and the OP6 and stuff. Like I've got it as physical hardware. I also have it as a VST. I use those two different things in different ways. And there I might be a little different on patch generation.
This is blowing my mind. I've got a list of things to do that whenever my brain goes into lock mode, like I don't know what I'm doing. You know when your brain goes into that mode, usually about 7 o'clock, and it's just I don't know what to do. I'm gonna besides clean the toilet, clean the oven. I'm gonna say make sounds on synths. I also have make canvases for releases. This is fascinating, man. And Rezi, you said something that really fucking. It's like the one thing. I guess I don't have the patience for a lot of this shit because it never connects. It never talks. There's got to be a MIDI handshake. There's got to be blah 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 going on, and I just couldn't be fucked. And I think. Maybe I should put a version of DX on my laptop or something and fuck around, but, maybe not. Because it's like, I've got a TX R7, thank you again, Sith, that I need to program that thing. Isn't it funny when you talk about programming a DX7, it's like, or I could just fucking program the Moog 1. enjoy that before it gets burnt by a fire. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, no, I've added this to my list of things to do. It's a good reminder. Sit down, maybe watch a fucking movie you've seen 10,000 times, have it on in the background, and fucking program your synth. That sounds like fun. Alex, what are you thinking?
I forgot what I wanted to say. Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Mungo's weird, isn't it? This Australian brand Mungo, they do the most wicked fucking
I didn't
shit.
mean to pick on them in particular, but that thing's got a lot of knobs on it. So linked in the Twitch chat there.
Thank you, Twitch chat.
It's an interesting, wood cheeks and a huge panel with lots of knobs. That's pretty classic.
Okay, adapt, manipulate. You've also got an ESQ1. I just sent you that directly via fucking fuckity fuck. I'm just giving up talking right now. YouTube. No, it's sent. There you go. It's working. Hey, we're man, words. We are streaming onto TikTok. Thank the digital gods. So that means we have to put on our undies and do a TikTok dance. Alex, how's the pizza?
No pizza today, but I got pizza yesterday by brand I don't know for sure. The thing about Dex is that I think that its layout sucks to program, because I've programmed my little FM synthesizer, and it took me very long to understand how Dex is layout, and I still think it's a bad layout. Yeah, I think they're much better, probably paid for alternatives, but it sounds good, but I don't know.
I feel your pain. I don't know. It's just this mountain. Can somebody remind me? SoundStone. I've always wanted to fucking build DX7 sounds, or because I used to have a Casio VZ10. I hated it, and I tried so hard to love that thing. It's a piece of shit. I hate it. But funny, its main controller was controller 15. And I still to this day, and this is like 30 years ago, I still use controller 15. I don't know why. So, hey, can we talk about something else? Unless we want to keep talking about this. I got a SoundStone. SoundStone it's basically the cheapo eBow. And it's funny because Karl, the other Karl who lives across here, who's a guitarist, I was talking to him while we were evacuating, and we're going, okay, we've got to do this. And I just said to him, do you have an eBow? And he goes, oh, yeah. And suddenly we're stopped talking about fires and we're talking about eBows. And then it's like, oh, no, wait, we're evacuating. So I got this fucking SoundStone, which is kind of like a cheap version of an eBow. And I bought it off them. I was going to do you have one? Rezi's got two, an eBow and a SoundStone. No, they're both eBows. Karl's
Two generations of eBows, different ones.
Karl's got an eBow. I want to try the eBow on the BlasterBeam, but the SoundStone actually makes that fucking thing chime. And the harmonics you get out of it are fascinating. Like, really, it takes a little, and sometimes you have to just pluck the string a little to get it started. But as you move it across and it's, you move it, and it's got like there's 5 feet of string. And you move the thing, the sweet spot's like these, it's maybe 3 inches. And it vibrates through the harmonics. It's fascinating. And then you get the thing on an angle and shit. And the SoundStone came with the thing saying you might not want to touch the string because it will give this really super high-end horror. That high-end horror sounds great on a BlasterBeam. That was like pre-fire shit that I want to get back into. Rezi, talk to me.
I don't know if I'm going for it or going to delve into it, but I saw for the first time on one of the guitar channels a polyphonic sustainer per string, and the traditionally, like a thing like an eBow, you focus it on one string at the maximum, feedback position, and you get a note. And you can also switch it to a harmonic mode, so it gives overtones. And all of the Sustainiac style in-body pickups are also monophonic, but across all the strings. So generally, even if you grab a chord or a couple notes, it'll resonate with one note at the most. But this thing has individual eBows per string, so they're a little bit staggered, shoved in there. And man, you can grab a whole chord and do your overtones, or this particular guitar was fretless, so they were just doing, which, that's really hard to do intonation on a full chord with that, but they had it tuned to an open tuning, so you could just one finger it, and then use the other hand maybe to do a melodic figure, and it would sustain perfectly all of the notes in polyphony. Really interesting piece of junk looking thing that some guy bodged together. Just
Good fun.
very cool.
It's wonderful thing about strings is the harmonics and it's just the most fascinating thing. Alex, what are you thinking?
I think Moog had something similar built into guitars.
Yes, you are
Called the
absolutely
Moog
right.
guitar. I didn't understand it back then, but now I'm fascinated. But I tried to look it up on Reverb, and Reverb crashed. So maybe that's a sign of the gods that I shouldn't get one.
Like, stop even looking for that. There's only one made, and it's a prototype, and it doesn't work really well, and it's in a museum. Now I kind of want to look it up. There's a lot of sort of project style builds that I've seen with sustainers, but it's a really hard. I don't know what the physics are that make it a difficult problem, but it has something to do with it has to resonate. It has to find a standing wave, so it can't be just tuned to one frequency. It's got to take the input and put it back out gently enough to cause the string to vibrate, but strongly enough to make the string vibrate, but gently enough not to just cause a howling, traditional feedback loop. So there's some extra sauce in there that I haven't really looked into, but I plan to. Can I look for the Moog guitar also, so we can be referencing what's possibly the original?
If Reverb says an error occurred, then we are the same.
Well, Wikipedia's got an article on it, so the thing does exist, and I
know I didn't fever dream it into reality, but I also really thought it was cool back then because it's just I like synth and I somewhat like guitars, so
and it's not like super expressive in that the note onset is kind of dictated by the device. I mean, when it's a handheld one, you can move it into place and slide it along the string and stuff and do some, spiccato style and slow attacks and stuff, legato. But, all right, Moog guitar. Everybody look for Moog guitar on Reverb. Mine didn't crash, but it also didn't come up with anything having to do with what we're talking about, unfortunately. A lot of Les Pauls, which I played a lot of guitars yesterday. There are some interesting pickup designs going on out there.
I got this one, which is not available anymore. But I think it's probably best for just creating ambient stuff, like playing in chords and just going into pedals and with your feet changing parameters with the expression pedal and so on.
Yeah, anytime you've got a hex sensor or pickup in the thing, the possibilities really open up with the guitar, because one pickup for all the strings together, it's the sound of rock and roll and jazz and funk and everything, but it's not as articulate and flexible, obviously, as individual strings with their own outputs that you can then process discreetly, and that stuff becomes interesting. One other crazy ass post-processing system that comes to mind is a Synthy Hi-Fly, which it's kind of just a lot of pedals in a box, but it's definitely got the spirit of the Moog thing with a couple of floor pedals and a big thing on a stand with like knobs and sliders, and it has a real like groovy ass vibe to it. But Okay, so just to wrap up what I did find on Reverb, and I'm not going to look at yet until somebody else starts talking, and then I'll disappear. There are some Les Paul guitars with Moog electronics in them that I now have to see what those electronics actually are.
Let's see.
Save me.
I walk away for 3 fucking minutes.
Gonna hear about it.
Ivan isn't even there. And you're on Reverb. My God.
It was my
He started it.
yeah. I'm responsible.
Wow.
Home Shopping Network is very popular. You know, we could just sit here and call up a screen share Reverb and talk about products.
You know, that would make a funny podcast, and you're taking the piss out of shit. That would be very funny. Or you're talking about it like, oh, this shit's awesome, but Alex already does that. But as in Alex,
The other one.
fucking yeah, the other Alex.
Vulture,
Yes, yes, Vulture Culture. Wow. Yeah, this is great. Wow, interesting. No, this is really interesting. I just don't know what I'm talking about right now. Wow.
You want to go back to the VZ10M Casio and tell us?
Fucking controller. Hold on, so this is just a controller, this Mungo thing.
Yeah. It's a one-to-one knob controller for the parameters that are available via SysX in the ESQ series things. So
Is fucking awesome.
I should see what's available on the used market now that it's been 20 years since anybody made those things. Probably more expensive. Who knows?
That is so good. I'm really glad Mungo's doing all this shit now, man. It's great. Yeah, good fun. So now I'm turning this shit off now. Going away. And isn't music wonderful? Because you know, I don't think there's any other art where we're going to talk about the brushes. I know some of them do. Some of them are like, oh, we're going to make ink. Yeah, we're going to make ink.
But photo guys talk about their gear. I think they're even worse.
Which guys?
Photo, like photographers.
Oh, Jesus, photographers. Fuck them. They're crazy. Fantastically crazy. But they do nerd out. It's really interesting. It's the more mechanically... get off Reverb. Ivan's back. Quick, get off Reverb. Ivan's back. Yeah, the more mechanically minded the art is, the more they go into the mechanics. And I got to tell you, if you ever have the opportunity to sit in with a bunch of photo nerds talking about cameras and shit and lenses, fantastic, man, fantastic. And
We can start now if you really want.
no, please, let's not.
Worse than us.
Yeah, adapt and manipulate. If you had more luck with your VZ10, then God.
I loved that thing for the little display, the little LCD matrix display, and the one sound that I made with it and sampled and then sold it on.
Yeah.
It goes, bark, it's an FM.
It's
launch.
yeah, it's funny. I don't it was good. Okay, the first person to fucking go on Reverb and start looking for VZ10Ms owes me chocolate. Ivan, get the fuck off Reverb. I know that look. You do this thing where you get this smile on your face and your eyebrows. What your eyebrows are doing, that's the Ivan is looking at Reverb eyebrows right now. You owe me chocolate, you bastard. Anyway, the
I can't believe they're going for $600.
fuck you, Andy.
Good luck with that. I think I got mine for 90.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a long time ago, but
I got
still,
mine in the 90s for like almost nothing. But I was so excited because I thought it would be, I thought it was like a 64 voice or an 8 voice version of a CZ1. And the CZ3000s, man, the CZ as you call them, fucking great synth. Really good, totally useless, couldn't do anything with it. Awful, but fuck, they were good.
Yeah.
And some of the sounds you could get out of that thing were just like, bow. And the CZ1 was fucking like touch sensitive. And you got to tell me, Yeah, they the VZs are horrible to program, but the CZs they kind of sucked a bit as well. But they look great. I mean, go and look at a CZ1 now, a CZ1. Go look at it now. I permit you to everybody can put on their Ivan fucking eyebrows and go look at a CZ1 now. That's a beautiful fucking synth. Look at that thing. It's ugly as fuck. That is such a yeah, please send me chocolate. But with no poo. That's a great synth. Like, that's the funny thing about these synthesizers is that can somebody please put a fucking link to a fucking CZ1, please, bastards. It's really interesting, or fucking Yowie poo. It's really it's fascinating. I'm gonna fucking take you down, mate. I'm taking you down. Look at that machine. Look at that synthesizer. It's just so pretty. Thank you, Alex. Look at it. Look at it. It looks like a 13-year-old's first set of braces. Look at it. That's the Cybertruck of the 80s. And you remember the ad that went with it? That guy playing the Casios on the beach with the riding a fucking horse.
Oh, really?
Oh my god!
I absolutely missed that one.
Okay.
I mean, because their marketing team came from wristwatches and calculators, presumably.
Well,
so
that's the joke with Casio is it's got to be twice as good to be taken half as seriously. And then they did this other one that look at that fucking synth. It's beautiful. They did this other one called something else like a few years ago, and it was amazing. Everyone thinks, oh, it's a Casio, it's a piece of shit. But like Lux Voltaire, who's like synth fucking guru nobbo, fucking loved it. And it had an arpeggiator, it had all of this intelligent stuff years before everyone else. WS series or something, I can't remember. Fucker had like talked me into buying one, but I didn't. Look at those colors. Look at that green. What is that green? What is it? Is that aqua? Look at that blue. What do you call that blue? That is 80s fucking blue right there. This synth was designed to sit on top of your Emacs so that they both clashed in the most perfect fucking way. That's why people love the Emacs keyboard. Can somebody get an image of an Emacs keyboard, please? We're going to talk about synthesizer aesthetics now. Like, tell me, this is part of the reason I fucking love Emaxes is, Restream said, congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with your Restream chat. They were all crap. Sorry, we're bullshitting. Can somebody get me a photo of a fucking Emax keyboard now? I mean, I could take a photo because there's two behind me, but I'm just too fucking lazy. Quick, someone, go, quick. Fucking, where are you bastards when I need you? I need you now. Thank you. Why?
Hey, as soon as I start looking for Emacs, I end up with new Emacs.
I need a close up. Give me. Why are you sending? Why does? Oh no, that's the wiki one. I need a close up.
The strangest thing came up when I typed Emacs into images. Anybody else getting just like teeth? There must be some sort of branding pollution going on that I'm not aware of.
No, Emacs is it's a tooth thing as well.
Fucking creepy.
Yeah.
I got veneers and mechanical applications and yellow teeth.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sad now.
Thank you.
I don't like it.
Also the look at this thing. Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful synthesizer. Like I remember the first synth I absolutely fucking fell in love with. Thank you, Super Tablespoon. Was the Emacs. I'm just going to put that everywhere so everyone can see this gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at it. That is fucking Miami Vice. There's probably 5 pounds of cocaine under that lid. Look at it. Look at those colors. Look at the buttons. It's so fucking great. Fuck off. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful synthesizer. Look at those colors. And then, you look at like the emulator too. And it is such, I think the Emacs looks prettier than the emulator 2. The thing about the emulator 2 that everybody loves is the great big fucking disk drive, which makes carrying that thing impossible, I will just say. But that's why everyone wants an emulator 2, is because it looks so fucking pretty. Emaxes are technically better. Don't start me. God, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. One of my joys, man. One of my joys is just getting a whole bunch of random samples, dropping them onto eMusic, converting them into Emacs files, pulling them into the Emacs, and just seeing whatever the fuck happens next. And making some absolutely beautiful. And I don't know why. I just love programming in Emacs. I don't know why. It's a piece of shit. But I fucking love it. I fucking love it because there's a surprise. I guess there's a surprise. Like, you know, with a Mode 1 or a fucking whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm aiming for here. Wow, that's really beautiful. And don't get me wrong, the Mode 1 is like, it's like seeing God. It's insane. But the Emacs is like, it's like seeing the alien gods. Because you don't know what you're going to come up with. You know, once you loop it and you start adding filters and all this weird fucking shit. Fantastic.
I want to nominate the ugliest, worst synth also, and that is pretty much any of the synths with a piss yellow backlit 2-line LCD and
I like
membrane
piss
front panel
membrane
switches that don't
which
activate.
I need to see this synth besides the fucking Mode. Was it the Prodigy that had the... Was it the Mode Prodigy? And also the CZ 1000, which also...
I would elect the PV-DPM3 as the probably vanguard of that aesthetic.
Okay, can we get some images? Now that's the 101, you dopey prick.
Sure.
I want to get. Let's get some images. We're gonna have the beauty contest. Definitely not though. Of the ugliest fucking synth ever made. I'm not gonna elect the CZ because I think it's the CZ 1000. I think this thing's beautiful. This is such a pretty fucking synth. I think it's pretty. But I have awful fucking taste in everything, as you're probably telling right now. This is Karl's Contender. It's not, it's beautiful. No, I think the L1V is beautiful. Oh, O1W. I think those things look great. Fucking loved them. Yeah, all right. I'm putting. I don't think it's ugly at all. I think that's pretty. Come on. Give me your ugly synthesizers. Let's go. I mean, am I wrong? My first synth was a 3000. CZ 3000. Where's your fucking photos, Rezi?
I just posted in the Twitch. I'll throw it in the. That's the PV DPM3. It's not lit up, so you don't get the full effect. But that like weak ass like low contrast LCD that kind of flickers a little when you push the buttons around it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the buttons give out. There's like a plastic thing that pushes an actual tact switch that's mounted to the circuit board, which never, like a month in stops working and you have to hit it really hard. And then eventually it falls off. So you have to stick a pen inside the hole that's left where the activator button used to be. And then that breaks. So you have to like wire on a couple of contacts, wires, and you just take the wires out and you short them to activate that particular switch. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. No, it's not just you. That's fucked. There's another one as well. I thought you'd be shooting your mouth off right now. There's a Yamaha one that came out in the early 90s. That was ugly as fuck. That is an ugly synth. I love the way they were going for like super sleek, super streamline. What was those Yamaha ones? Ooh, they were ugly.
Chroma Polaris is pretty ugly too.
Yeah,
like
I'll
full
agree.
membrane, no buttons, just all a touch, panel. That thing never worked right. I mean the panel buttons.
I will agree. There it is. Yeah, Alex, you may have won, man. You may have won. Hold on, I want to give me a second. That is an ugly. Fuck you. That is one ugly fucking synthesizer. So this is who is that? Oh my God, that's an Emu. Wow. It really was interesting that Emu went after the Emulator 3 the design. They obviously fired whoever did the design. Yeah, no, yeah, the SY series was ugly, but there's a really super ugly one. Alex, I think you may have won. That's the fucking ugliest. What is that? An XK6. I've never even heard of that. What the hell is an XK6? Yeah, they're awful fucking colors. But when you look at that wheels, the section, that is so, they went, oh, we want to keep the Emacs thing going. But also like the Emulator 4 keyboard, kind of ugly. That's kind of ugly. Yeah, look at it on the floor.
Fismo on Sonic
Yeah.
or Ensonic.
Ensonquai, Fismo's fucking ugly.
It's pretty gross. But that's really just a color gradient that's making it gross. The rest of the layout, I mean, that double E emu really, like, what's with the logo with the backward
Oh,
E
well,
at the
their
beginning?
logo is these three kind of like, normally they're red lines that kind of, if you extend it out, and the 3 red bars that fit into a square.
I'm happy with that, but I've never seen it with a backward E before the letter.
Yeah, that's what that is. I think it's just a
Okay.
bad photo, unless I'm completely wrong.
Could be.
Yeah, those 3 bars is the Emu logo. They lost it, man. Well, Emu got bought out by Sound Blaster. Yeah, I know.
That's
So after the
glorious.
Emulator 4, Emu got bought out by Sound Blaster, and with Sound Blaster, I think they released the Emulator 5. I don't know if the Emulator 5 is any good, but that's when they went into the Emulator X, which is the software version. Like it was a card that plugged into your computer. And I keep trying to find this Yamaha thing, but I keep seeing motorbikes. Yeah, okay, this is interesting. If anybody else wants to talk about something else,
this is peak engaging.
This is
What
peak
about
engaging.
hey? How about this Andromeda A6? That's pretty ugly.
But
The
I
Alesis.
see why people don't like it.
It hurts my feelings that you've brought up the Andromeda.
But look, just step back and look at it, and don't.
It
be
is
butthurt.
ugly. It's fucking
Okay.
ugly. Like that looks like that's the inside of what the thermonuclear atomic reaction inside a bomb looks like. That is
Those
fucking
lobes
ugly.
with the connecting tissue
It
there.
really
like,
is,
ew.
and it's ugly. Fantastic synthesizer, but Jesus, that's ugly. Fucking great synth. Really fucking great synth. Monumentally fucking good synth. Horrible colors.
Hey, the Dark Star is not pretty, but they do sound good.
Dark Star. Oh yeah. Well, there is actually a synthesizer where the text on it is Comic Sans. Yes, I'm not joking. And it's this really elite sound designing thing. And each one has to be made. And it's kind of like a Fairlight where it's a box, a computer box that you plug keyboards and shit into it, with crazy, like, specifically created hardware. And it does like smashes 2 samples together like in a Helium kaleidoscope thing and blah blah blah. And it's all very fucking interesting. And I was gonna get one because I was reading about this thing and I wanted to do mad fucking sound design. And then I looked at it and it's like, the labels are Comic Sans. And I actually emailed them and I said, I can't do this because it's Comic Sans.
Yeah, it's a deal
Like,
breaker.
what the fuck? How am I supposed to take you seriously if it's Comic Sans? Like, this is more ironic than Rain on Wedding Day. Oh, that free ride that you've already paid. And I gave them some good advice, which they just didn't take. K250. I will say that I think the K250 I'm going to go out. I'm going to say that the K250 keyboard is one of the most beautiful fucking things I've ever seen. Wow. Wow. Look at that fucking synthesizer. You know what? Actually, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, hey, we are just talking so much crap right now. I think maybe we need to be talking crap right now. I don't know. Isn't it interesting? Come on, you bastard. All right. I had a friend who was he had one. He had a rack mount version. And he said, oh yeah, I'll give it to you. And of course he didn't. I should check in on him. Oh wow, yeah, that's fucking horrendous. Hold on. You are saying that the PPG is beautiful, right? Or are you saying it's ugly?
It's intimidating.
Yeah,
How about
but it's intimidatingly beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna.
2.3, like, you and your friends are hanging out and it just walks up naked and it's all like, I need your jacket and I need your pants.
I'd give it the jacket and the pants immediately. Like, I will say I fucking I think that thing's fucking beautiful as fuck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I was gonna nominate Wave Term as thumbs up, like iconic and beautiful.
And
Palm.
plus, you go ahead.
No, that's all. That's just I love that.
I will also say that the keys on them, the actual, like, not the keyboard keys that went click, 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 ew. The fucking, see the buttons on that thing? They were the best fucking buttons ever. And something I love about the O1V, I don't know if you can hear that.
Keyboard,
Got,
like typing keyboard.
Yeah, like
type
they've
Alps.
got, it's got, I mean, the 92R has got big, chunky fucking, they look like 808, like the 909 computer buttons. Oh. See, that's Roland so got it right with design. Come on, man. Roland design's iconic. It's fucking great. I want to know what the most beautifully designed synthesizer is.
2600.
You reckon?
I mean, the
It's
blackface,
beautiful. Hey, man,
upright with the speaker grills and everything. It's
all
all over right then.
And the Moog, Mini Moog, Moog 1.
Functionally, yes. A mini is the height of design, but it's not. It's if you're not into wood and like the sort of organicness, the 2600 is kind of space agey, but not so much because it looks like it might be made of cardboard. I don't know. It's tough to beat that.
No, I agree with you on that one. And also all the line work and everything else on the 2600, it's also like it was designed for schools to teach kids how to use synthesizers. And I'll also say the 2500 is an absolutely glorious synthesizer. However, I will agree the 2600, and I'm gonna hunker down on Moog. Beautiful looking shit.
Yep.
But man, I agree. Can we get another contender, please? Ivan, get off. Nah, forget it. Everyone's on fucking reverb.
I see Alex contributed MS-20, and I agree that's up there too. That's similar, but also the Synthy 100. Is that the first the big ass console one with the wings and pegboard and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Hard to beat the 1971-68 industrial lab equipment aesthetic of that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Good shit. I think, okay, so I want to throw a question out while we're still masturbating here. If you could make your studio look like anything in the world, absolutely anything, you had unlimited budget, you know how Vince Clarke built his little fucking igloo? To you and to everyone on the chat, I want to know, what would you want your synth to look like? And together we're going to workshop the best looking fucking, and it's got to be fireproof, by the way. The best looking synthesizer setup that is possible, that you can possibly have.
Well, I think you got to start with the rack that everything's going to live on.
No, you don't. You've got to start with the building. And you got to ask the question, are they wearing spacesuits or lab coats? Dude, you can put
That's a really good distinction. That's valid. Yeah.
Or are you using Star Trek Enterprise? Do you want it to look like the bridge of the Enterprise, A, B, C, D, or E? Do you want it to look like a bird of prey or a Romulan bird of prey? Come on.
Now, Bird of Prey last real in the movie.
Which one?
Yeah, after all the stuff is falling down.
Oh, that would be actually another. I love destroyed spaceships. My favorite thing ever is the video for Police Synchronicity, where he's on top of a whole bunch of TV sets and it's just chaos.
And he's playing the Gittler guitar.
Yeah,
I mean, that thing aesthetically is a beautiful piece.
and his hair is looking very fucking Raban June. I mean, fade. Fade in that one. Yeah.
Oh,
This is a really tough question. Like, I wanted to say Borg cube, but when you're throwing out
Okay, so hold on.
spaceship references,
Can
like
I
the
throw
bridge
it?
from the ship in Black Hole.
Okay. I'm going to come up with mine. Super Tablespoon, are you hinting towards a tiki bar?
Well, I mean, that's a requirement.
No. But to actually look like a tiki bar.
Or would
Okay.
work.
All right. So I wanted Borg cube. Yeah, I wanted mine to look like a 1950s Soviet nuclear power station with and to retrofit big fucking controller knobs and shit. And you've got to have a lab coat, and your feet have got to be in those little booty things that are like static free, and you've got to have one of those little caps. Or to make it look like an mid 80s arcade, early 80s arcade, where you put the racks into upright arcades and the desk is sitting at a, like a tabletop thing. Yeah. So, wow, Alistair, you already have a 60s reactor aesthetic for your studio. Dude, I need photos. Okay, let's keep going. I want to explore this Borg. Can we talk more about this Borg idea?
I mean, I was kind of kidding, but like one of the, I'm trying to pick like 3 or 4 elements that sort of come together. No expenses too much. And the skyline diffusion is a really important element, that sort of random diffusion looking stuff that you see in professional studios, not because it's going to make the room sound good, but just because it looks expensive, and it generally is.
Yes.
A lot of that shit all over the place.
I like this. This is important stuff now. And see, the other thing is lighting. And that's like, the Tonto, the great Tonto synthesizer. That thing is, come on. Yeah. It's like you're walking into, or the, in Planet of the Apes 2, Amen, Amen, Amen. Where they have the altar to the bomb. Yeah. Because Tonto reminds me, it's got to be Spaceship, man. Or in my situation, it's going to be like 50s, 60s, fucking.
I'm drawing a blank on exactly the ones that I've collected over the years, but there's also the bordello aesthetic, like Zimmer has, like lots of red carpet and couches and lamps with fringes and shit all over the place. That's something to that.
Or that's interesting, because that reminded me when I saw that of Doctor Who, Tom Baker's TARDIS in Doctor Who. Diana, you may need to help me out here because you're a nerd. He went into this random TARDIS room that, I forgot I had this one. And it was like really, it was all wood. And it was like 2 or 3 seasons of this really weird looking TARDIS. And it was beautiful. It was really pretty. And, having a TARDIS would be great, but the problem with the TARDIS layout is everything you are moving around the circle as opposed to the circle moving around you. So it's lots of moving, lots of patch cores, and that fucking thing that's going up and down in the middle. But that's good because it could be a lighting source. Help me out here, please.
An oscillator.
There you go. Yes. Yeah.
An LFO with visual feedback.
Yeah. Wow. When you say, actually, Jen put up Land of the Lost, like, oh my God, a guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a C-stack.
Land of the Lost, big glowy crystals. Yeah.
But then Alex topped it with the Geiger. So, oh my God, either the Nostromo. Oh yeah, I do the Nostromo, or the original alien ship. With the jockey in it. hold on, Ivan, I just cut you off.
Yeah, there's somebody making Geiger inspired panels for
I've got one of them.
yeah, I've got a set of these. Just need to install them. They're cool as hell.
Yeah, and you can hang your leak cables in them. I got the tails. Yeah, they're fucking great.
Oh, that'd be handy.
Yeah, so you can stick things in. I've got actually a spare thing that I should put it in the live rack. Yeah, they're great. They're fucking great. This is interesting. This is very interesting. So, because my thing is, okay, so how do everything's got to be a meter or 2 or 3 feet off from the wall so you can get in behind there. And my other thing constantly in a fucking studio, sorry, I've hijacked this, is the cable runs. Like, because that's the thing that fucking bakes my mind all the time, is clean cable runs and keeping them off the ground wherever possible, because cables on ground equals dust buildup and shit. And if you think that's not an issue, trust me, it becomes an issue. Alex, what are you thinking?
Funny idea, I will probably never do. Suspend the cables from the ceiling so they come straight down and then to your desk or whatever.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Also, I just, not just, I learned there are fluorescent audio cables. So I wanted to get some if I have the spare money and reason to buy new cables.
Good. I know they've got some that have got yes, gaffer tape. Thank you, Adam. They've got the ones that have got the LEDs in them, so you can actually see what signal's going on. That I always think's great. And good call on the Synthia as well. Very good call. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh boy. What else?
It's harder than I thought it was going to be to call up specific images of groovy studio synth setups, but two further aesthetics that we haven't touched on are the super clean white room, and there's like the Hardwell studio that has that, but there's a couple of others that are super well cable managed and just like white surfaces everywhere so that the lighting really takes control and you can make the room kind of whatever color you want due to the LEDs and stuff. That's
Okay.
a thing.
Yeah. Oh, I just cut you off.
It's cool. The other one up for discussion was the 70s aesthetic, like groovy, like, large
Barbarella?
circle on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a little bit, but more like, living room hi-fi kind of thing.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
some Scandinavian studios that had that I can't call to mind rapidly
Yeah.
either.
Okay, so one thing about a studio for me is it's going to look like a workshop whether you like it or not for me, because I'm cutting shit up, I'm soldering, I've got tables out. It's a fucking mess because it's a work in progress. If something doesn't work, which is always Ski Lodge, that's fantastic. Thank you, Jen. Oh, thank you, Superspin. It goes on the table and the fucker gets fixed. When evacuation stuff isn't on the table. I think that I do not like, if I walk into a studio and it looks like it's a corporate work environment, nah. I cannot work there. That's what I hate about so many mixing environments. And when I see people's like keyboard setups, it's like, bitch, are you doing your fucking tax or something? What the fuck? Yes, of course you're scared about AIs copying you, because fucking look at that work environment. I remember there was this thing, I'm on a rant. I remember there was this photo exhibition in Australia where and it was awesome, where they took photos of the different artists' workspaces. And of course, they're a mess. And then they had photos, then they had the paintings next to it. And it was so crazy that you went, the painting came out of that studio. You could tell, because it was like the studio just got scooped up and dropped on a canvas. And some of them were super neat, and those people were all very neat. And other ones had like bits of wood, bits of flowers, all this stuff in there. It was such a wonderfully inspiring, oh my God, Phantom of the Paradise. Alistair, you may, oh, that was Tonto though. yeah, it was such an inspiring thing because like I don't usually get very inspired by seeing other people's studios, like lots of gear and shit. I don't fucking care. But you know, when I see someone's studio where it's like the fucker probably welds in there, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I think in Iron Man, the protagonist has like this workshop where it's like circular and many workbenches. I think that's also a way. And also, in terms of real life studios, I both enjoy and hate like really gaudy metal or goth studios where it's like black velvet on the walls and like skull decorations. Um, yeah, that's also like I both love it and hate it. And they also have like a certain smell I can't really describe.
I totally agree. I just remembered I totally forgot about the fucking fantastic synthesizers that Jean-Michel Jarre built. Like that in the specifically in the Rendezvous, like sure, laser harp, absolutely. But when he did the Rendezvous late 80s period, he had these synths that were real, that were working. One of them was that massive fucking thing that went all the way around him, that lit up. And he had these two crazy fucking controller synths. There's one of them. Really beautiful fucking works of art. Most beautiful fucking things I've ever seen. Anyway, there you go. I'm trying to find pictures now. Yeah, I think the wrought iron is a bit of a. We're gonna fight over that one. Oh, I'm gonna agree with you. Wrought iron. Yeah. Yeah. Quick, someone talk, because I'm losing myself. View
Yeah.
image.
In process on getting third floor built, and like when you're building a studio, every decision counts. Like floor material, how you're sealing the floor, the sealing the walls, every damn bit is important because you're either leaking sound or you're taking it in, and the more you can block that, the better. Also, like the walls are open, you put in cable, just so that cable mess isn't a mess later on. And be creative and think as far ahead on that as possible. Also, as it turns out, like you're going to need to be able to hang stuff from everywhere. And then there's like the aesthetic of the finishes, like what direction are you going to go?
Wait, did we get serious? Like we're actually talking about functional studio design now? Is that where this is going? Okay.
We got serious.
I like the idea of symmetry so that there's pods and racks that are mirrored on either side. I don't think that 2 displays is useful at all because then you're looking down the middle at the crack of your displays, or they're asymmetrical, so you definitely need 3. The 2 on the sides can be smaller, that's fine. The things behind you are the things that you need to touch less, but they are definitely wired to your patch bay. The room is generally centered so that your acoustics are about right, so that your speakers and the reflections and stuff are treatable symmetrically. And the things that you touch most are closest to you, so you can reach your patch bay at arm's length, your volume knob controllers and stuff at arm's length, and maybe there's some space on the desk in front of you to swap in a controller as you need, like different controllers for things, or 2 if you're playing stuff, but nothing too out of reach. What else? Incense burner is nearby. I don't know.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Thank you.
Look at that fucking synthesizer I just put an image of.
The circular one, or do
No,
we
well,
move
yeah,
on
the
from
circular
there?
one, but also the weird fucking blue thing with a microphone. That's Jean-Michel Jarre's fucking, what the fuck is this synthesizer?
Anal probe.
That's the Anal Probe
See it?
101.
Yeah, I see you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's pretty neat.
I want one of them.
It does look like something that they put in your ear in Star Trek.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does.
Kind of hurts.
That's fantastic. Look at that thing. Dude. Okay. Yeah, I was listening to you. Man, all about it. Practical. Yes. Well, it's awesome that you're actually getting the opportunity to build this, Ivan. It's
Got it.
great.
Lighting. You end up putting in a lot more lighting than you'd expect, or you'd think. Like, because again, the walls are open, you might as well put it in. Also, you're going to need it later.
Keep talking.
Yeah, like being able to like light different parts of the room individually is key.
There's a lot to be said for going modular with all of your cable pulls and stuff. Like if you can, if like in the case where you have the walls open and you're doing a thing, leaving open channels to pull through with this is pretty obvious if your walls are open and you're designing a studio, you can do this. Either that you have your cable troughs so that you can just pull lids off them and get access anywhere along the run, or that you've got rope pulls or twine, pulls that still are empty and have more capacity for later. But the funny thing is we're going less cable, so much more, where everything's either running on UTP or shielded twisted pair instead of coax and big cables. The runs are low voltage and digital, even for your electrical controls and stuff, but definitely planning your drops for where the lightings can be as much as possible and your drops for where audio can be as much as possible, and leaving the possibility for pulling more through the walls as much as possible, and access ways so that you don't have to move anything heavy or disassemble anything to get access to your wiring is pretty cool. I like where you're thinking on that. Do we even run audio wires anymore, or do we just run digital cables now?
I'm actually going to run audio wire.
You doing audio over shielded twisted pair, or are you doing audio over traditional audio cables and pulling a bundle of them?
Traditional audio cables right now.
Old school.
Yeah, because I know that it will work.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I just want to also say, look, this is great. And I also want to say that Jean-Michel Jarre's fucking China goddamn fucking synth rig is so sexy. Oh my God, it's hot. I want me some of that action. The fucking nous of this guy always blows my mind. If you get a chance, there's a documentary about this mad bastard called "How to Hang a Steel Rhinoceros" or something. Just his whole life, the guy has just taken the craziest fucking risks and miraculously paid them off. But there's a documentary. I'm sorry, I just so hijacked that. If you get a chance to see this, hey Rob, yeah, I'm good. Thanks, mate. If you get a chance to see this documentary, it'll blow your mind that it's not just about the music, it is about the terrifyingly insane logistics involved with fucking doing the crazy shit he does. Ivan, I agree with you on this, and my one piece of advice is get a super long snake or a million fucking cables and have 10 more and 10 more MIDI cables, and also run just have them there, or have some kind of a Dropbox or something, because fuck man, you're gonna need it. Like the amount of you swap out a piece of gear and this one doesn't have 2 outputs, it has 6 outputs and 2 inputs. Great, I need fucking 8 more cables. Or it has a USB, or Yeah, I need to be running a some kind of a CV thing to this side of the room as well, because and that would be like there's a really cool Dope for thing you can get, which has got 7 inputs on one end, 7 inputs on the other end, and you can run a fucking network cable as long as you want through them, and they run CV. And I need that. Sorry, Rezi, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was hearing that, but what I wanted to, I think, shift toward is the installations that I've been involved in maintaining that have bundles of multi-core like traditional audio cable fucking suck. There's nothing good about it. It takes up a lot of space. It's really hard to pull. If anything gets damaged, it's like you got to take the walls apart probably, or unbundle it somehow. And it's expensive. It is fucking expensive to terminate. It's expensive to own, and it takes up space to trough. So if there's any way to go with, I mean, the modern equivalents are fucking fantastic. Running audio, analog audio over shielded twisted pair is economical, and the punch downs are great. They're just DB25 connectors like you're used to, except you can terminate it with, regular cable termination. I don't know enough about it because I haven't done it, but I also know that if I was going room to room or running new runs, I think I would say fuck it for the running large bundles of audio cable, and instead saving your money for interesting ways of doing like control stuff on the ends, like the real synthy creative shit. Like the Dwepfer kind of thing that you're talking about specifically, like exactly that. But right now, going toward the future, fuck the large analog cables, focus on digital. There's 7 different formats of video and audio that you can run over your network cabling instead of, a few runs of analog. I mean, it's crucial, obviously, it's essential, but doing that over twisted pair instead of over coax or any other kind of thing, man, look for those options. And somebody report back and tell me it's impossible to do for certain applications. But
I think it's a great idea, and I think there's a point where you got to say we're going Dante or something similar. But my issue is that none of my synthesizers, none of them have digital outputs. So I would have to be going into another box or another rack or something.
Staying analog is cool, but you can do that over twisted pair, shielded or unshielded.
So can you put in the description, drop this so that we can all see what twisted pair is?
Yeah. I'll pop in a solution.
Regular network cable, but high quality.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, show me. And because I'm not familiar with this.
Dave Ratt has a lot of stuff that he talks about in his series about, because they sell products that do Cat 5 and 6 cable terminating in analog audio stuff. I'll pop it in. Still analog, but in this case.
Cool. Yeah, that looks very interesting. Because that's, like you said, man, a cable goes down or something happens and you have to pull the whole fucking thing out. Yeah, Jesus.
I'm finding a ton of discussion on it rather than the actual product, but I'll get there.
Cool. Thank you. I really appreciate this. This is interesting. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw in right now? If I had $1 for every time Karl says, does anybody else have anything interesting that they want to throw in right now? It just rolls off my tongue. Does anybody else have anything interesting that they want to throw in right now? Thank you, Alex.
I think I've got it, but I'm not sure.
Oh, no, that's DMX. No, it's not. I'm wrong.
DMX, but also analog.
Okay, that's interesting. It's only 4 though.
Yeah, that's.
But that's the nature of UTP because it's only 4 pairs. So
Yeah,
you
you-
still,
okay, sure.
but it's a thin cable, and Cat 6 is even thinner still. Different design considerations, but you can get a lot more signals run on that stuff, and there's a long history of how that kind of cable in big bundles, it's economical. But
It's really interesting that when you think about all those pieces of synths that you have, all that gear that you have that you're not using, and the amount of infrastructure that is taken to keep it there, keep it powered, keep it plugged in and everything else, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like I haven't turned on the modular in months. maybe 4 or 5 months. That's disgraceful. Sure, lots of excuses, but you know, I'm becoming increasingly aware that how much stuff I've got and how much stuff I need. Like, if I was to pare down, I'd do a lot of paring down. Yeah. I'm actually starting to sell more shit. I reckon I've got 2 7-foot bays, racks, computer storage racks of like server racks of modular. I can get that down to 1. Like, even that's fucking ridiculous. Like, dude, come on. Anyway, I need to minimize. Here I am talking about a whole bunch of dumb shit that no one gives a fuck about. Julius, welcome. Good to see your face. We're talking about all sorts of stuff right now. A handful of plugins for me. Yeah, good for you, Julius. Oh, yeah, we had a good conversation about that today. Yeah, this will be available for watching again on El YouTuberino very shortly when we finish the stream. When we finish the stream. I talked about fires and stuff. It was good fun. Don't slap me for you. Of course not, man. Baby, it's about what you use with them, man. It like plugins, synthesizers, outboard, whatever yields the result. What is good for me is different to what's good for you. And you're creating music. That's all that matters. Never feel pressure. And sorry if I ever pressure people. I mean, like I do say, do this thing or I'm going to send you a shit in the mail because I am a bastard. And that is technically pressure. Yeah, I'm glad to be safe too. Wait, here's the res. Wow, look at that.
That's just one example, and that assumes you've got pre-made cables or you're making crimped end cables. It's not like punch down. It's just a standard running analog audio over twisted pair cable instead of over traditional audio cable. So you get 4 times the density, and the breakout boxes exist to do XLR or balanced, TRS or whatever you want. But one example, there's smaller things and stage boxes, and when you go to digital, obviously your things open up, but then you're talking like, AES EBU or Dante or.
I actually think that digital is a cheaper option.
Yeah, it can be, but you do need analog runs for some things, like you're saying.
I mean, like you could get a digital box because I'm looking at the price per input on these things, and you can get a digital box quite inexpensive. Stick it over here. I mean, even in the good old days of optical, and run digital box there, then going to your desk. My only issue with digital stuff is it never fucking works clearly for me. That's the thing, and Ivan's going, fuck. Yeah, that's my problem. And I don't, I know there's all this shit that I have to learn, and I do have to learn it. It's just such a pain in the cock that I'm always going, what's wrong with this? Why isn't the fucking address blah 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 working on this? Fuck, I just want to fucking make fucking music with my fucking synthesizers, and so that's why I end up putting on knee pads and plugging everything in with analog cables, because I'm either lazy or stupid.
Tried and true. It
Fucking
works.
care. Yeah. But I do need to, I don't know. I don't know. Every time I walk into a theater that's got Dante in it, every fucking time, it's not Dante's fault. It's like, oh, well, this is patched into this, and this is patched into the Rio, which goes into the TO, which is patched into this, and that's, these numbers are actually patched into blah, 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 which is patched, and it's like, fuck, what?
It's another layer, for sure.
Then there's this other theater, like the center. It's a stage box with a 50 or 100-foot snake, and one is patched into one on the desk. And when you've got to set up a show in like 30 fucking minutes.
I just went through this last night where things were not patched 1-to-1, and every number was randomly patched into another hardware number on the wall. hardware number on the mixer not matching, no correlation, had to go through them all, just ringing it out. It's a pain. But if every endpoint is properly labeled and documented, the flexibility of having it on digital,
Absolutely agreed.
I've been wishing AVB would work
What's
for
AVB?
15 years.
We've got to
Digital-
minimize all the
digital-
acronyms.
Well, talking about Dante is the same. It's the same
Okay.
thing. AVB, AES, all of these 3-letter things.
All right.
Digital audio.
All right. Right.
The Mac has come with it supported just at the OS level for like 10, 15 years. And I have yet to have 2 devices that have compatible Ethernet interfaces to actually transport the audio for whatever reason. I get rid of one, or it doesn't have Ethernet built in or whatever. And so I've never actually succeeded in having digital audio over Ethernet for free because it's built in just work. The paid solutions, the buffered ones, going over the internet, those all, they work, after a fashion with some delays. But I have not, I agree with you, going analog so that you've plugged one end of a cable into another end of the cable and it's balanced and you trim it with your preamps. That works most of the time pretty easily, whereas digital solutions are kind of up in the air. But when you pay for it and you've got 2 expensive Dante endpoints and they go, it's pretty magical.
Yeah. And that's the thing that just makes my fucking blood boil. It's that, look, I'm doing this thing now, and they said, "Oh, what mics do you want to put on a piano?" And I said 258s. And they said, "Don't you want 421 mics or blah 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 mics?" I went, "No.
It's a piano. It's got to be Earthworks.
I want fucking 58s. What about the violins? 58s. I want fucking 58s on fucking everything. I am done fucking around with all of these other mics that feedback and blah, 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 blah. I don't fucking care. I want 58s.
Look,
And
getting
it's
the
funny,
job done is the key.
Every single fucking audio engineer I talk to who's got more than 10 years experience goes 58s. And you stick a 57s. You stick a 58 on your voice and a 57 on the fucking instruments.
Yeah.
Like, I just do not, for the love of Christ, use a fucking shotgun. Go ahead.
The placement of the mic relative to the thing that's making the noise, probably in most cases for the same pickup pattern, makes more of a difference than the brand of the mic. A U47 for $150,000 is going to make your voice sound more like Sinatra. Congratulations. But a 58 placed beautifully on a nice sounding room with a good singer, the differences are not going to be the SM50. I'm pointing at not an SM58, but the SM58 versus the U47. That's not going to be the difference. There may be some stuff you can get out of the other one. But
yeah,
let's face it, you're not Sinatra making
and also, like, if it's some nice fucking mic, you want to grab that mic and be a rock star. You can do that with a 58. You can't really do that with anything else. And the thing about a fucking 57 is you can put it almost anywhere and it sounds good. Yeah. Totally fucking usable. It's like
predictable.
Hey, yes. Jesus Christ.
And you're getting the job done.
Yes. The audience don't fucking care. They want something that's going to work. Anyway, this has been good. Wow. Yeah, this is the trauma I was speaking of. I'm getting all angry now.
Work it out.
Yeah, work it out. Fuck. Okay, so we're going to wrap this puppy up. What's everyone doing after this?
Going to jam.
Good for you.
In a room.
With humans?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I think I talked about it once, that there was sort of plans to do that, but today's the day, so I'm not even bringing a guitar. I'm just going to use the house backline, show up and play something.
Record what? Oh yeah, the anniversary. Oh, we've got to do that. Thank you, Diana, for reminding me. Hey Julius, do you have the do you want to jump on? If you want to jump on, because we're going to do some things for MTV TV. I'm just going to send this to you. If you want to jump on this Zoom, Yeah, because we're gonna do some 4-year things where I really look the part right now. This is great. Um, yeah. So what's everyone else doing? Ivan, what are you doing?
Avoiding the cold mostly. I do need to work on like there's a whole remix project for like Kevin Key channel thing going on that I need to get started and finished in the next like week.
Kevin is not even a mile from me.
That's
I
good.
think they evacuated. I'm not sure.
I think they're back home now.
All right.
You know, like I think nearly everybody I know in LA is back home.
No, let's do it this week, Diana. Yeah, fucking fucked up, man. Good stuff. No, that's great, man. That's great. Alex, what are you doing?
Probably working on a computer I've been working for the past days.
So you're building a computer.
I'm installing Windows and Linux on an old server.
So sorry.
I think
I mean, that sounds
talked
great.
about
Awesome. Adventure.
Only problem is now Windows doesn't shut down the computer, so I have to boot, restart, boot into Linux, and then shut down if I want to shut down Windows.
What bootloader are you using? I'm sorry. Shh. Stop.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great that you're doing that. Congrats. Diana, what are you doing?
I am working on the next 2 shows for MTV TV. Have to email artists and get more music videos and things like that. And get ready for Adam's show tonight on twitch.tv/AdamBomb. Yeah,
Good.
maybe eat something.
Fantastic. I am going to do these MTV TV promos. I'm going to relax. I've got to mix some May stuff, which I'm excited about. I've got to do some artwork for this Ice Planet release. Thank you, Julius. So I've got to, bits and pieces. I think I really need to spend some time on my mental health. I'm going tomorrow to work at the center, getting a whole bunch of donations and shit out and ready. So I would like to donate and do more stuff like that, but I just don't want to be, I don't want to be in this fucking air and yeah, but as the need arises, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking at mental health today, and I'm going to play some. I got some vinyl lined up, some Australian rock, In Excess and Icehouse, and Primitive Man by Icehouse. I think today is going to be brought to you by great album. What's that one? Is that Machinations?
X-ray specs.
Adolescence. Okay, cool. Good man. Okay, this is the Art of Rock. We're going to be back here next week. Please, you know what? I'm just going to put this in the chat because I feel obligated to. If you want to help me out, no, I'm not going to put that in the chat. If you want to help me out, I want you to donate to some of the people who really need it in LA, and there's a lot of places around that are taking donation, Red Shield and a whole bunch of people. So, hey man, as much as I need money, there are people in this city who need it way more than me. So please help them and download the Watch Duty app. And it'll keep an eye on everything terrible that's happening in your area. Have a pack and go bag and make contact with people and friends that are in your immediate vicinity. And Never underestimate the power of we the people. Oh boy. We're gonna fang on over to MTV TV now. Rezi, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
If you're not on, you're a rock star. If you're not watching on Twitch, that's where we're going. So let's raid. And everywhere else, thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping me today. I kind of needed this. You rock, and we're going to hang back here and do some MTV TV stuff. Oh, yeah. Diana, hit that raid button. Jen, you rock. You should jump in this chat, Jen. The fucking thing's on the Kickstarter. I mean, Patreon. Words are really filling my brain today. What's going on? How's that raid going? All right. Bless y'alls.